I've never really understood symbolism. It kind of seems like to me bordering into the realms of superstition. But the other day, or a few weeks ago, I heard about this thing called shadow work. And shadow work is basically you looking at yourself and you're trying to figure out why you are the way you are and why you do the things that you do. Right? And this involves asking questions about what it is that shapes you. But still, symbolism for me is a bit of a no no. Like, everything to do with like symbolism seems to have also to do with superstition. So like if you've ever heard people saying, "Oh, it's raining at this time, and that means that this is gonna happen," blah 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 blah. And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that you're not supposed to believe in omens. And I consider myself like a pretty rational person, and I say that probably because like the education I've gotten in my life, like science and all this stuff, and you're supposed to come to conclusions rationally, and this is kind of how Islam works and how science works. So I consider myself like super rational. But as I grow older, more and more I realize that symbolism in itself cannot be ignored. And I was reading this book, right, and this is like the most extreme example of symbolism that I could describe that really didn't make sense to me. And it's like there's this guy, right? It's this whole galactic empire. Half of the galactic empire decides they want to go with one of the emperor's sons, and the other half decides they want to stay loyal. And basically, one of these loyal sons, he's called the Lion, literally, right? He decides that of the galactic empire that decided they were going to side with the traitor, the usurper son, he was going to go, and instead of defending the emperor himself, this guy's job was going to be that he was going to destroy the planets of all of the people who had sided with the usurper. And I thought that's the most useless. Like, why would the writers put in something like that? And that's basically how I view most things in terms of symbolism. But we know that optics matter. Okay, you cannot just do things without caring about how they look. Okay, and also in Islam, right? We are told that things are not about opinions, and he basically is not. The commands that Allah gives you aren't based on what you think of them or rational principles. You are doing these things because Allah has told you to do these things. Right? You could pray in any way possible. You could just pray by like doing your eyebrow like this, and then for ruku you do it like this, and then for sujood you scrunch up your nose. And if you can't scrunch up your nose, you're damned for eternity. But there are certain things that we do, and it is purely symbolic. In the case of prayer, it's symbolic in that we are following the way the Prophet ﷺ prayed, and in that we are doing what Allah has told us to do. And with many other things as well, if you look at rituals and all of this stuff. But yes, while there is a benefit to the symbolic side of things, you also have to realize that a lot of what you want is basically symbolic. It is based on the environment that you live in and the sort of ambitions that are put into you as a result. So, for example, I've been reading a lot of like science fiction books about war recently, and on the back of that, I've also been reading, not reading, watching these TV shows about like CFOs and stuff like that. And as a result, like in the last few weeks, my focus has been pretty hard on work. Like right now it's 3 a.m. in the morning, and what I was doing was working. Granted, I did waste a bit of time, but a lot of the ambitions and things that I want in my life and things that I think will give me happiness aren't based on me thinking, hey, how is this exactly going to make me happy, but because I see these symbols being present in the lives of people who are really happy. So I work hard because I know if I work hard, I'm generally going to make a lot of money. And why is that? Because Kobe did it, because Iman Ghazi does it, all of this stuff. So if you want to avoid always falling into these traps of doing things just because you've seen other people doing them, or falling into superstition and stuff like this, what you need to do is you need to look at a base truth. And my base truth is Islam. And the reason why the base truth is Islam is because if you look at all of the okay, not even if you look at all the religions, if you look at all of the ways of life, right, that exist, all of them are based on thoughts. Okay, except for Islam, because Islam is based on the Quran, and the Quran we know is true because the Quran gives a challenge. If you can create a page of Nini like this, then you know that you have the wrong thing, and nobody has been able to do that. So there's an objective truth at the start, and then from that objective truth, you need to look at what it is that you need to be doing. So whenever you're asking yourself questions like, what should I be doing with my life? Don't go and then think, yes, you can have the things that you're naturally inclined to do, but you also need to be able to look and see what are the biases that I have because of how I live, where I am, and stuff like that. And from the Quran, what is it that I should actually be doing? And if you start looking at it like this, slowly and slowly you'll get to a better and better place.